All right, guys, so welcome back. So we're going to go over, we're not done really with graphing lines. So we are going to go ahead and do a brief review before we jump into our next topic. In the first way we started talking about graphing lines, we were going to go ahead and plot points. Right? And we're given a table of points. We want to go ahead and graph these points. And so what I'm given is my x values. And what I want to do is separately take each of these points, plug them into the equation given for x, and go ahead and solve for y. Okay, so my first value is 0. So I have y is equal to 4 times whatever plus 5. Right? And where that x was at, I put a set of parentheses, and inside the set of parentheses, I'm given the value 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put 0 here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and work it out. 4 times 0 is 0. And 0 plus 5 is just 5. So y is equal to 5. And so in the y column with 0, I'm going to go ahead and put a 5. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and plug a different value in. Okay, so this time my value is 1. So I'm going to put 1 in where x was at and just work it out. So 4 times 1 is 4 plus 5. So y is equal to 4 plus 5, or 9. So 9 is going to go with the positive 1. Our last value is just negative 1. So just go ahead and stick a negative in there. And I have 4 times negative 1. Negative times a positive gives me a negative 4 plus 5. And negative 4 plus 5, you spent $4, but you have 5. You have $1 left over. All right. So positive 1 is going to go here. And then we just go ahead and plot these points. All right. So I have 0, 5. Each of these is worth 1. I have 1, 9. And I have negative 1, positive 1. And this gives me a very steep line that looks like this. If I wanted to, I could figure out its slope by using rise over run. We're not going to deal with that right now. Let's go ahead and look at the second one. Right, so my second one here, I have a graph scaled in tens, which I've marked for you. And I'm just going to do the same thing. This one I'm given all x values. I'm just going to plug in that x value wherever that occurs. All right, so my first value is negative 8, and put that in for x. Now, positive times negatives and negatives, so it's negative 72 plus 8y is equal to 0. In order to solve this equation, I've got to go ahead and add 72 to both sides. Make sure that you're getting all the way over where that 0 is. These are going to cancel, and I'm left with 8y is equal to positive 72. Go ahead and divide by 8. Cancels out, so y is equal to 72 divided by 8, which is 9. So I have negative 8 and 9. Going to go ahead and repeat the process with 0. So go ahead and plug in 0. This one's going to be easy because 9 times 0 is 0. That part's just going to cancel out, leaving me with 8y is equal to 0. And what times 8 gives me 0 is 0, or you can go ahead and solve it by dividing by 8. Zero's in the top of a fraction, that gives me 0. Okay, so this happens to be the origin. All right. Let's go ahead and plug in our last value. Our last value is positive 8. Okay, 9 times 8 is 72, plus 8y is equal to 0. This time we're going to subtract 72 from both sides. It looks a lot like our first one, except we're subtracting rather than adding. These are going to cancel, leaving me with 8y is equal to 0 minus 72 is negative 72. Divide both sides by 8 to solve for y. And y is equal to negative divided by a positive is going to give me a negative 9 in this case. So my points here are 0, 0. I have positive 8, negative 9. Let's see if I can get it in the right spot here. And then I have negative 8, positive 9. And this gives me a line that looks like this. Keeping going. Now I'm given a point and I'm given a slope. Remember, my slope is rise over run. All right. So I got to start off when I'm given the point and slope, I got to start off with plotting the point first. So negative 4, I go over to the left 4 and up 2. So I'm starting from that point. Now my slope is 1. I want to make it so it's rise over run. So if we have a whole number, we just put it over 1. So this means from this point, I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 1. And I can continue to do this if I so desire to get a third point. And my line looks like this. All right. Also from my original point, I could go down 1 and to the left 1, and I should end up on the same line, and I do. Okay. Number 4, the same thing. We're going to go to the left 4 and up 6 and starting from there. Okay. Now notice I'm kind of at the top of my graph, so I'm going to go ahead. I have one negative, and you can assign it to the top or assign it to the bottom. In this case, I'm going to assign it to the top because I'm out of graph going up. So this means I'm going to instead go down 3, and then I'm going to go to the right 4. And my line should still go down from left to right. That's what I'm looking for here, because I have a negative slope. So I'm going to go ahead from my point, go down 3, all right, and then go to the right 4. If I wanted to, I could do the same thing again. Go down 3, to the right 4, and I should still have the same line. Not too bad for a hand graph. All right, but my slope is going down from left to right, and that's definitely what I'm looking for here. I want to make sure that that occurs. All right. Number 5, we're asked to use the intercept method. The intercept method is we want to use the x and y intercepts only to graph this line. All right. So I'm going to create my xy table, and I'm going to plug in 0 for x and solve for y. Right. So 0 minus 2y equal to negative 8. Well, the 0 is going to cancel. I'm left with negative 2y is equal to negative 8. Divide by negative 2. Okay, to get rid of the negative. Now, negative over negative is a positive, so y is equal to 4. I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to plug in 0 for y. And I have x minus 2 times 0 is equal to negative 8. This piece goes away, so x is equal to negative 8. So I have my 2 points. I can go ahead and just graph it. Okay, I don't need a third point because they asked me to only use intercepts. So I have 0, 4. Make sure you're going the right direction. And I have negative 8. Oh, I need some more lines here. Negative 8, 0. And now I have my line going up from left to right. We're doing the same thing for the next piece, but this is in slope-intercept form. So we're using the slope and the y-intercept in this point to go ahead and graph. Okay, so they don't want us to use both intercepts, just the slope and the y-intercept. In this case, my slope is the value in front of my x, which is 2. My y-intercept is in the form of 0x and some sort of value y. And that value is going to be negative 4. You can, because the plus is part of the formula, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so when it's a minus, that negative has to go along with it. I'm going to start off by plotting 0, negative 4. Sorry. And then from there, I'm going to go and use my slope. My slope is 2, which is the same thing as 2 over 1. So I'm going to rise up 2 and then go to the right 1. Okay, so rise up 2 to the right 1. And if I wanted to, I can also do it again. Rise up 2, go to the right 1. All right. And then go ahead and draw my line. All right, looking at this one here, we are using the slope and the y-intercept again. So here my slope is negative 1/2. My y-intercept is 0, negative 6. And I'm going to plot my y-intercept first, 0, negative 6. And this time for my slope, I'm going to rise up 1, and I'm going to assign my negative to the 2. My line should still, in the end, be going down from left to right. So I'm going to go ahead and go up 1 and to the left 2. And I'm going to do it again from here. Oops, I went up too many. Got to make sure I'm counting. Up 1 to the left 2. And I indeed have a line that's going down from left to right. All right. The last one, I have x is equal to negative 1. Notice here I have no y value, okay? This is one of our special lines that we talked about. And our special lines only go 2 directions. They either go horizontally or they go vertically, okay? This equation tells me that x must be equal to negative 1. So if x must be equal to negative 1, I can use that intercept right there. And so I can use negative 1, 0 as my first point. Now there is no y here, so that means it could be anything we want it to be. So I just need to make sure that no matter what point I use, my x value is negative 1. I'll say it's negative 2. So this is my line going through the x at negative 1, and this is indeed my vertical line. Okay, so you got to make sure that you know what your special lines are. Go ahead and work on these, turn them in, and I will see you in the next video.